thank you so much for joining me today. I want to get straight into your journey because it's such an inspirational one. Now, I know that you took a trip with your friends for your AS levels, and that trip ended up changing your whole life, right? Let me know about that.
Yeah, so we kind of did what I guess a lot of people do at the end of exams, like to go blow off some steam somewhere. And that year, decided to go down to south of Portugal, just have a lot of fun, kind of a week of kind of just enjoying ourselves, I guess. And, we just, as we did every day, we'd go down to the beach, hang around on the beach all day, muck around, go out in the evenings, and just repeat that every day. And the fifth day of the holiday, we were playing around on the beach as we had done every other day. I decided to go crawl off in the water. And kind of on a slightly different part of the beach, reeled on other days I've run in, kind of where I thought, when I run in the beach, the seabed completely, will just continue to kind of get deeper and deeper. Where I've run in, there was suddenly a seabed. So where I've dived forward thinking, oh, this is good. I've just basically gone head first into the seabed. And yeah, that was when just everything changed. I was left in the, I was in the water, it was probably only a few seconds, but at that moment felt like forever, because I was left completely unable to move anything, just literally just floating in the water, face down, staring at the seabed, staring at my arms, just dangling in front of me, basically, just kind of worried for my life. And at that point, I kind of did think that was it. I think, then from that moment, it was a couple of my friends dragged me onto the beach. And then I was in an air ambulance and airlifted to hospital in Lisbon, where I spent 2.5, 3 weeks there, had all kind of illnesses and surgeries, to England for a couple of weeks in intensive care, and then 6 months working my way through the kind of different stages of the hospital to try and get out and enjoy the real world again.
Yeah. That must have been completely soul destroying, because I think it was 3 weeks in Portugal. Was it like 6 months in hospital in England? That must have been completely soul destroying. Like, how did you keep the willpower to keep on fighting?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, Portugal was really tough. It was obviously when the whole thing first happened, I didn't really know what it was, and then one day one of the nurses came up to me and he just said, "Oh, you'll never be able to move your arms and legs again." And he just kind of point blank just told me that. And at that point, I was just like, oh, geez, wow, that's big. This is kind of a game changer. I kind of didn't really know how to take that in at that point at all. I was also on a lot of drugs because I'd had pneumonia and MRSA septicemia in Portugal as well. So my mind kind of wasn't really concentrating properly. So I don't think I really fully took that all in at that point. And then when I came back to England, that was huge, because it meant that I was kind of obviously back. I wasn't home, but I was back near home. I was back near my friends and family. And the day after I landed was when my brothers came and saw me. My parents had been with me in Portugal the whole time. And then my brothers came to me the day after I landed. And for me, that was huge, because it was, because obviously there's a point where I thought I'd never see them again.
Yeah. And
then they came in and they hugged me, and we all just like lost it, just crying, bawling our eyes out big time. But it was good. We got to kind of feel that whole thing together. And then it was, from that point, we were able to kind of move on pretty quick and just kind of laugh and joke with each other. One of my brothers was on crutches, two of them were on crutches, I think, at that point. And there was only one of us that was walking in and out of that hospital room fit and healthy. We're all a bit of a mess. But, it's good because, we just we joke with each other as if things were normal. And that for us was, I guess, part of our healing, that we could still have fun and enjoy ourselves. And then the 6 months out of intensive care through the rest of the hospital were all about, for me, it was just about trying to focus on the right things. And I had that one really bad day in hospital where, probably the darkest day I've had and will ever have. And then from that moment, things kind of kicked on for me. I was able to start focusing on the right things and kind of trying to really set myself kind of different challenges and goals to keep myself going.
Yeah. And I know that you were in really good shape, like it's so much so that I heard that the muscles in your neck and your back actually caused issues for you when you were first going through, obviously, all the different types of operations and stuff, and things you had to have. And I know that is probably because you were actually a professional rugby player potential at the Saracens Academy. So when you're being told now that you're paralyzed from the shoulders down, like, how do you get your head around that as such a fit person at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say that the rugby thing, I mean, I can say it now that my brothers will argue heavily against it. That, you know, I would say, yeah, you know, I would have made it pro because we can't disprove it now anyway, which is good. But, but yeah, they say I wouldn't have made it, but yeah, one thing I did enjoy pre-accident was being in the gym and keeping strong and doing those things. And that was one of the things that kind of I really enjoyed before the accident. That's one of the things that has helped me now. And yeah, so when I first went, first had the x-rays in hospital in Portugal, they found out I dislocated the fourth vertebrae in my neck. So practice was at that time to basically kind of screw this like halo thing into your head, lie you flat, hang some weights off this metal thing in traction to try and stretch out the neck to let the vertebrae kind of slide back into place.
Okay.
And at one point they hung over 15 kilos off this thing. So my neck just wouldn't budge because they were so strong at the time, and because of the trauma they'd spasmed so tight, and because they were so strong, my neck just wouldn't move like at all. So after a few days, not even 1 millimeter, it had moved. So yeah, that was all part of it. And yeah, and then kind of that loss of movement and independence was, for me as a very sporty person, that was kind of part of my early thinking and things I was worried about. But it was also then one of the things that really helped me through this all. Kind of because in hospital, my goals and stuff were all about my physical capabilities. Even though they weren't much, I could barely move anything, especially at the start. I mean, I couldn't even breathe for myself. But I wanted to push myself physically and get rid of the ventilator and get rid of the oxygen tank and the tracheotomy and be able to breathe independently. So that was now my physical work. That was now my gym. That was now the things I was going to set my goals to do and enjoy them and make sure that I recognised the progress that I was seeing and making the most of those moments.
And I think your story reflects that. I think you're a very determined person, because even when it comes to the A levels, I know obviously you went through such a horrific time after, but I know 13 months later you went back and actually completed your A levels. So I can tell you're a person that doesn't like to be defeated by anything. And I truly really respect that. You spoke also about your brother. I know one of your brothers, is it Will, actually played professional rugby as well. And I believe he became a multiple champion as well. So how supportive was he of you at this time as well?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, all my brothers have been incredible. I've been very lucky to have them as my brothers through this whole thing. We, at the time of accident, they were all going through other kind of big, huge steps in their life. My eldest brother was in his final year of uni, about to go into his final year. So obviously this was like a big thing leading into that year for him. Will just signed his first professional contract the year before, so he was starting to make a name for himself. My younger brother was just starting his GCSE, so there were these things. I think as brothers, we've kind of lived through all these experiences together, and yeah, and even through Will's career and life, and has seen him become a professional rugby player. One thing that we all wanted to do when we were young was to be a professional rugby player, and even though kind of we couldn't all do it, it was great to see. It was great to see him do it and us celebrate and kind of revel in those moments with him and support him through that. Obviously, for me, the way he supports me, I want to be there for him and support him. And as brothers, we just kind of tried to make sure we live all those moments together and enjoy them as one.
Thank you. And I know Will, in his career, he actually suffered numerous neck injuries as well that actually brought his career to an early end. So did you end up, I guess, going from being the one that was supported to kind of supporting him, I guess, to a certain extent?
Well, he was seeing all like the fame I was getting. He was just jealous. He tried to join in. Yeah. So it was just kind of mad coincidence. So yeah, the one thing that kind of ended his career was a neck injury. But yeah, and it was. I think he's spoken in the past about how kind of what I've been through and how I dealt with stuff had helped him with his injuries. Because I mean, in his career, I mean, he was a pro for 10 years, from the age of 18 to 28, and he had in that time had 10 major surgeries. He blew out both ankles before. He's torn his lat off the bone. He's he's had hip stuff, and then obviously the neck thing at the end of his career, which stopped everything that was going on. And so it's kind of, seeing him go through it as well. And I think knowing that for him as well, like it was for me, knowing that we were all there supporting him, that as a family we'd be there and kind of get through those moments together. Because I think for him that was help. And it was interesting times. And I think it's just good that we were there as one and as a family.
Of course. And, you didn't stop. You kept on going. You built back so many of the skills that you had before, and even started to explore further skills. And then you went into, I guess, reattaching or maybe flirting again with an artistic talent, and you started doing art. I heard that it was because you were sick and bedbound at a time, and you actually started to just start playing around with it. How did you learn about mouth sticks, and how did the whole artistic attempts even start?
So I knew about mouth sticks because soon after I came out of hospital, my parents, because we're looking at kind of technologies and how I could use computers and all those kind of things. And in hospital, they were showing us all this kind of really expensive equipment that would cost thousands of pounds. And it wasn't particularly good. It wasn't that effective at the time. And then one of my friends found this free app on a Mac that I could use. It used the built-in camera on the Mac where I could control the mouse using like the middle of my face on the laptop screen. And that for a year worked really well. But then towards the end of the year, my parents bought me an iPad because they'd found this mouth stick on the Christopher Reeve's website. Obviously, okay. The man who played Superman and was also tetraplegic, falling off the horse. Yeah. So that's how we found out about mouth sticks. So when I typing, tweeting, Instagramming, whatever, it's me doing all the typing, it's me emailing by holding a mouth stick in my mouth with the stylus just taped on the end and touching the screen of an iPad, wow, which is kind of set up on cushions in front of me. So when I was stuck in bed for those few weeks, I had a sore on my back because I was unwell previously, and you get pressure skin sores because of the accident. It's part and parcel of the thing. So I was having to let that breathe on my back. So I was kind of lying in bed on my side or the other side. And then when I was allowed to then sit up in bed and put cushions by my back to take the pressure off, I put cushions on my lap and I was back on my iPad again. And I was just getting bored, so I was spending a lot of time just doing nothing. There's only kind of so much Football Manager someone can play in one go.
There's never too much Football Manager. Never too much.
As Jane in between us says, I completed it. So, So, so I was just getting bored. So I just found this real basic drawing app, and I was just mucking about with it. And I was kind of thinking of things to draw. And obviously, my love of sport and love rugby. I started to draw Johnny Wilkinson kicking the drop goal in 2003, which won us the World Cup. And it was a really, really basic, really linear drawing. Really, nothing much to it at all. But I really enjoyed it. And then I just continued to in bed, and I decided to start posting on social media, and people kind of really took to it, and supported me, kind of got behind me, and that gave me confidence to continue with it. So then when I was able to get out of bed and come downstairs, I had a friend of ours made this easel for me where I could start drawing with pencils, and I did that for a little bit, and then I got another easel that I could use for painting. And I think I started painting maybe 4 months after I first started drawing.
Wow. And
from that, it just kind of kicked off and escalated. And like I said, it kind of rekindled that love for me. Because when I was younger, I loved drawing and I loved painting, I loved building stuff, loved making stuff. But as I grew older and I was having to, through GCSE and A-level, I really started to fall out of the subject big time. Because you have to commit a lot of time to it.
Yeah.
You can't go half-hearted into it because otherwise it becomes annoying. And I wasn't committing the time to it at all, because rugby was going well for me at that point, and I needed to give time to that as well. So it's just this clash the whole time, and I hated it, and I really, really hated that point. And yeah, I mean, after school, I would have 100% dropped out, would have never continued with it again. And even though through hospital, I didn't want to do it. And then January 2015, yeah, I just found it again and found that love. And it's kind of been it's taken me on this kind of mad journey. And it's fun because with art, it kind of allows me to keep exploring different things and try different techniques, paint different things. It's never the same thing over and over, which is good. It keeps me having to think, and rather than kind of let my mind settle too much.
I like the way that you're humble about it, but the art is fantastic, Henry. Like, come on, let's be honest. The art is amazing, brother. And like, it's obviously doing well for you, because I've noticed that you have become a bit of a celebrity now. I noticed that you were on the Jonathan Ross show. So how are you dealing with all of this new fame? How is it for you?
I mean, yeah, it's weird. Jonathan Ross show thing was bizarre. It was really weird. I remember when I got the email from the publishers, because it was just after my book came out, and they said, "Oh, they want you to go on Jonathan Ross show." Initially, I thought it was a joke. I thought that someone was pulling my leg. I thought my brothers had me on. I thought someone's like having a laugh here. And then I know it's serious. And then that was on the Monday, and then Wednesday night we filmed it. And on the journey in, when me and my brothers in there, my parents came in the taxi with me, and my parents were trying to talk to me, but I was just being miserable, proper miserable guts in the car. Because, well, not miserable, just kind of short, because I was so nervous. I was breaking myself big time. So they were trying to talk to me. I was like, I'm not really sorry. Can you just not talk to me at the moment? I really don't want to talk to you. And then they took me. I was in the green room. My family went and sat in the stand. And then I was sitting there, and then I'm kind of looking around, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? This is bizarre. Like, what? Maybe the other people on the show I think they probably thought I'd like won some kind of competition or something.
Now you deserve to be there, mate.
But and then every now and then when we're out and about, someone might come up and say hi, and it is weird. It's bizarre. It is a strange thing. I've never been one to, especially when I was younger, I always hated being sent to attention. I was always the shy one in the family, the very quiet one in the corner, never really spoke to anyone. But it's kind of one of the many good things, kind of the whole situation, the accident has given me. It's given me that kind of extra confidence to kind of be more outgoing and be more confident in talking to others, and kind of allowing myself to be me, really, rather than kind of hide away.
100%. And like, like I said, you've got a fan in me, but I'm not the only fan. I know you've got some very high-profile fans, people like Thierry Henry, David Beckham, J.K. Rowling, and even someone who you actually looked up to and emulated as a young boy, Mr. Johnny Wilkinson. So what's it like having all of these people who I guess maybe you knew as a young person now come to you and be a fan to you?
Yeah, again, that's probably the most bizarre thing in this whole situation. I mean, yeah, Johnny Wilkinson in this house was everything. For us boys, he was everything.
Of course.
Oh, goodness. And I remember, like, first meeting him, I remember I was with my younger brother, and I was, like, trying to act really cool. And, I was trying to play it out, trying to start it out. And because it was bizarre, because it was Johnny who saw me and, like, came up to me and said, "Oh, hi, Henry." And I was like, "What? No. You know my name?" And then I remember seeing my younger brother out the corner of my eye, and he's standing there. He's like up over my shoulder, and I can just see him. And he's just like jaw on the floor, like eyes open, just like, oh. Close your mouth, mate. But yeah, those things are weird. And obviously, and all everyone you mentioned there, and for me growing up as an Arsenal fan, Thierry Henry, obviously,
of course,
through my childhood was the man. I mean, he still is the man. He's so cool. And yeah, David Beckham as well, and obviously, and J.K. Rowling for me was that was a big one, because me and my brothers, we used to, when we were young, listen to all the Harry Potter tapes when they're back on cassette. So back when we were really young.
Yeah. And
it was those books and stuff were part of our childhood. So to kind of know her now and to be able to call her a friend is
crazy.
Yeah, it is big time.
And speaking about J.K. Rowling, she gave you a massive author cosign, and you know you've gone on now. You've got 2 books. Amazing achievement, bro. Like amazing. The Little Big Things, and what's the other one called again?
The Power in You.
The Power in You. Amazing, bro. Fantastic achievements. Like, but take me through the creative process to both of those books. What were you thinking when you were writing them?
So the first one was, the first one was a long process in just trying to, I was asked a few years before we actually released it, was when I was first asked to write a book. And yeah, I met with obviously agent and stuff, and we kind of sat down together and we waited for the right publisher to come in. And when they did, Orion, when they came in, my agent's like, these are the ones we've been waiting for, take it. And they were great to work with. And so we sat down with them, and the first thing I said is, like, we want to just you to tell your story, and that's it. The first book was just obviously from what happened from the accident up until whenever I released the book, so towards the end of 2017.
Yeah.
So that was just me talking to everyone I've been through, kind of a lot, not a lot of it, but bits of it were kind of mentally how I was dealing with stuff and what I was really going through. But just telling the story, and yeah, obviously the first one having J.K. Rowling's name on it obviously helped the sales big time. I was piggybacking on her massively. And then just when it came to the second one, when they asked me if I wanted to do a second one, I just thought, well, I don't know what else I can say. I didn't know what to do at all. And then we sat down again and we kind of decided we wanted to kind of talk more about the mental side of it and what I was going through in those certain moments, and kind of all the things I still have to deal with in day-to-day life, and even like the process of getting up in the morning and all those things. So we thought, okay, that's the best way, that's what we're doing. We posed the book around questions that I'm regularly asked. So things like kind of, what do you do all day? How do you deal with setbacks? How do you accept the situation? And all those kinds of things that when after I've given talks or if I'm out and about, those things people ask me. And it worked really well. We kind of went through a couple of different ideas with it that didn't quite work and kind of had to start again, but this one worked best. It allowed me to really just explain everything and all these different things that I couldn't say, or not that I couldn't say, that I didn't say in the first book. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it was tougher to write than the first one, but I think part of me enjoyed the process a bit more because I had to think very differently. I had to kind of think more like philosophically and about things, about life and kind of things obviously I'm not thinking about all the time because it's just my day-to-day living.
True.
And I've kind of ingrained these things in me now so much that I'm not having to always think about them.
Yeah. So
I was having to like rethink back again, and which was fun, and I did really enjoy that process.
And I know in 2017 you won the W.H. Smith Non-Fiction Book of the Year award, selected by the Telegraph. It must feel great to like have your work recognized in this kind of way. How does it feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, to have a book out for me was huge. Anyways, I was never, again, kind of bizarrely, all the things I'm doing now, I think, apart from the art, all the things I'm doing now, the public speaking, the writing, the things I used to hate. And I wasn't very good at them at all.
Yeah.
I did everything I could to get out of doing those things. So it's bizarre now that I'm thinking those are the things that are like driving my life. So yeah, to have the book win that award was, that meant a huge amount. And again, it's all these things for me are kind of are always a bit odd, always a bit weird, because in my head it's just the things I'm saying, the things I write about, things that I do are just, it's just my life that I'm living. I'm not like trying to do anything special. I'm not trying to go out my way to kind of prove anything. I haven't tried to prove anything since I was in hospital. I'm just trying to kind of live kind of the best I can, and in a way kind of get the best out of myself and be as happy as I can be in my life, and live kind of my best life, I guess. Living
your best life, and I think you are doing that. And there are 2 quotes that you have used that I think, for one, are amazing, but I think also they exemplify you, your work, and your determination so well. But I want you to tell me what they mean to you. The first one you said was adversity has given me a gift. And the second one I saw you use was, what was it again? It was, what a caterpillar may perceive as the end, to a butterfly, it's just the start.
Yeah.
Two amazing quotes, but what do they mean to you?
So adversity has given me a gift is that before my accident, I was a massively pessimistic person. I always went into every situation, into every moment, kind of with always looking at the end goal and thinking, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? Who am I going to let down? Who am I kind of like, how annoyed am I going to be at myself? Like all these questions, just always questioning myself, questioning situations. I never really like taking the chance on anything or on myself or just anything. And when I look at what kind of the accident has given me, I mean, I could sit here and kind of list everything that the accident's taken away, all the things I can't do. But when I look at what it has given me, it blows all the other stuff out of the water. Like I was saying before about the confidence it's given me. The public speaking, I would never do that if it wasn't for the accident. And that public speaking has given me more confidence than you'd ever believe. And it's only because of that I wrote the first book, which meant that I got to write a second book.
Yeah.
And I've got to go on these TV shows, I've got to do all these things. And that's only because of my accident. And the art I'm only doing because of my accident. I'm only doing these things. And it's just given me a whole new kind of perspective on life and a completely different way of looking at things. And it was, I just go in situations now, not worrying about the end, I just want to go in, give it my all. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not like failure, obviously it's terrifying me, but now it's just, you just learn it's part and parcel of life. Like, it's impossible to go through life without failing. Like, no one does it.
Very true.
And the second quote, it is those situations where when you think everything's gone, everything's lost. So for me, when I had that, when I mentioned earlier about, when I was telling my story about the really bad day in hospital, this the first day I was ever put into a wheelchair and I was taken down through the hospital, and it was so nice. I was out in bed, I was able to see all the parts of the hospital everyone had spoken about when they'd come to see me, that I didn't know anything about, and I was so happy. And then it wasn't until we went outside, it was late summer, it was nice and warm, about to come in through the hospital, main entrance, these two big glass doors. And that was the first time in 2 months I saw my own reflection. And before the accident, last time I saw myself pre-accident, I was a fit, healthy, strong 17-year-old boy. And now I was staring at this kid in a wheelchair, like just skin and bone. I'd lost 4 stone, I was so thin, had a tube in my throat, was helping me breathe. This big wheelchair, these armrests, a big headrest, because I couldn't even hold my own head up at that point.
Wow.
And I just, like, everything then just hit me. And it was only when I invited me back to my room and asked my mum to pull the curtain around my bed. And I just broke. I lost it completely. And it's the first day in the whole thing that I'd ever questioned that kind of why me? Why me?
Yeah.
No point had I ever thought that up until that point. And I guess in the back of my head, I'd always had this kind of seed of denial that everything was going to be okay. I'm going to walk out of the hospital, nothing's going to change. But it wasn't until I'd seen my reflection that I'd been shown the rest of my life. That was me now. This was who I was. And I remember that day and I just kept crying. My mum was hugging me and I was crying to my mum's shoulder. And I couldn't even hug my mum. And I was just like, what is going on? This is horrible. My brothers came to see me and I cried. My dad came to see me. He always came after work at the end of the day to have the last few hours of the day with me. And I cried with him. I cried till he left. And I was just crying in bed through hours of the night. I was on some real heavy sleeping tablets as well at the time. They went through, having no effect. And then I was just lying in bed. And I guess I just felt everything I needed to feel. I just released all this stuff that I guess I've been holding in.
Yeah.
And generally just that night that I thought to myself, well, kind of like, I've got no point like being sad or angry about this. I've got no one to blame. I may as well just get on with it. And it was that day that suddenly my whole mindset changed. And that quote, kind of what the caterpillar sees at the end, to the butterfly is just the beginning. That for me was a brand new beginning. That was a whole new mindset for me to then switch into going, all right, well, I've only been told all the stuff I won't be able to do in the future. I've been told I won't be able to do this and that and that. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to start focusing on what I can do. I want to focus on getting rid of this ventilator. I want to focus on breathing for myself again. I want to then focus on whatever goal comes next. But I want to focus on this moment and now and get through each day with a new goal, a new challenge, and start pushing myself. And that for me was like the first really big step in kind of the acceptance of everything that had happened. And the real like firing starting point for everything for me moving forward.
I love it. It's such an inspirational story. Like, I think your story is an inspiration to anyone, mate. Like, just a story of pushing on, determination, unrelenting energy. Like, for me, it's amazing. Like, I've read a lot about your story, but even hearing you describe it to me right now, it's mind blowing. This is the Happy Place Festival. And Fearne Cotton, in her Happy Place podcast, she refers to it as a safe space. So I want to ask you two questions. Where normally is your safe space or your happy place? And now that we're in lockdown and we're at home, where is your safe space or happy place at home?
Well, I mean, both those places probably are at home. My safe space for me is at my easel. Because it's the one space where I can be, in my own world, in my own space, completely by myself. And I can shut out everything else that's going on. Yeah. And I can be there painting for hours. And, it's nice. It's that, because that's the part of me that's always existed. That's part of me that's always stayed with me and will always stay with me. I'm very happy with being in my own head and being in my own space and time and not having to worry about other people and other things going on. So for me, that's a really safe space. During lockdown, because I'm still at home living with my parents. And so for me, in lockdown, it's, I guess, more my bedroom. Yeah. It's more the time when I can escape to my own space. Of course. It's for me, my own time. I'm not having to kind of have the noise of other people. Yeah. I can really kind of shut out the rest of the world again and just be on my iPad. I can chat with my mates, or I can read my book, or I can deal with all kinds of other things in my own time.
Yeah. You can read your book. You can read your own book. Not many people can say that.
I've read that book by now. I've had to read it enough times in editing. Jeez. I think I've just backed most of it for my mind, to be honest.
Henry, what is next for you? What do you want to do next? What's happening?
The next big step for me is moving out. I've bought a house and I've got permission to knock it down and build my own kind of bespoke place there.
Wicked.
So for me, that's the next big move, the next big step for me to kind of that is, I'm in a really kind of the right place right now to be able to do that. I've done, I guess, with the paintings and the books and stuff, I guess I've kind of done enough in my kind of workspace and work time that I can now focus on doing something else. And so that would take a little while to get used to, definitely, kind of moving out from family and things. So that would definitely take a while to get used to, but like with everything, I'm just going to take it each day, each step at a time, kind of not expect it to work straight away, because it won't. I know it won't, but it's just, I've kind of got ways of coping with it now. And then after that, I guess, see what happens. Who knows? I said I'd never do one book, so a third might be on the cards at some point.
I think so, man. Why not? Well, listen, Henry, you are a true inspiration, multi-talent. I just really want to thank you for giving me some of your time today. Well, thank you so much. I wish you all the best of luck. I know the house is going to be lit. It's going to look amazing. So yes, thank you again, and all the best, mate. Thank you so much, man.
Cheers. Thank you. Appreciate it.